Hey everyone, and thank you so much for clicking on this video. My name is Justin, and holy shit, Kyle Dubas is all in, balls to the wall, making deals left, right, and center. I didn't even review the last one because I was out of town, the big one for Ryan O'Reilly and Nola Chari. But just now, the Leafs just announced that they have acquired Jake McCabe, Sam Lafferty, and 2 fifth-round draft picks in exchange for Joey Anderson, Pavel Gogolev, a conditional first, a second. Is that all? I mean, this is a steal for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I don't know how anybody could possibly think otherwise. I know my Dubas fandom here, my Dubas support is overwhelmingly showing, but this guy is making every conceivable move possible to help this team, not only for this year, but for every year moving forward. And I fail to see how people could possibly think otherwise, other than the fact that they just don't like the guy for whatever reason. I don't even know what it is at this point. Kyle Dubas is a legend. Let's go through this trade. So the Leafs get Jake McCabe, a right-handed defenseman. The value for a right-handed defenseman these days is astronomical. It makes no sense. Fucking John Klingberg got an $8 million deal in Anaheim just because he's a right-handed defenseman. You just got him for the next 2 years, 50% retained. Teams do not retain salary for nothing, let alone for multiple years at retained salary. So the Leafs now have Jake McCabe, a serviceable top 4 right-handed defenseman, for $2 million. Sam Lafferty, a very strong bottom 6 forward, for just over $1 million this year and next. Neither of these guys are rentals. You got salary retained. You did not remove a single roster piece from your roster. The first round draft pick is 2025 and it's top 10 protected. These guys both slot into your lineup right now, make an impact right now, and they're still on your team next season as well. This is just an absolute masterclass from Kyle Dubas. I can't believe he pulled this off. You know what? I've actually been thinking that these are the 2 targets for a while, either Lafferty or Domi. I wasn't sure which route we were going to go, but I thought Jake McCabe was the main target for the defense. But I thought the value would be much, much higher, considering, again, the fact that you're looking for Chicago to retain 50%. And yes, Chicago is in the position where they're not looking to win in the near future. They're not going to be at the salary cap, so they can afford retention. But let's think in the past, okay, what does retention even cost these days? Well, for 1 year, the remaining year of this year, retention has been going for about a 3rd to 4th round draft pick. So to have it retained this year and next year, yeah, that's where that 2nd round draft pick goes in. So you got a first, a top 10 protected first, a second, in exchange for 2 fifths, Jake McCabe and Sam Lafferty for 2 more years at least. This is a stellar job from Kyle Dubas. I cannot believe he pulled this off. What a move. The Leafs have not removed a single piece from their roster, which actually does lead me to believe that we're still not done. I mean, you've got Alex Kerfoot, you've got Pierre Engvall, you've got Justin Hall. All those pieces are expendable, unrestricted free agents coming up after this season. I think that Kyle Dubas is going to offload a couple of those guys in exchange for more draft capital coming back. They're not going to get the most, but they can get something. I think Alex Kerfoot is definitely worth somewhere in the range of a 3rd or 4th round draft pick. Honestly, I see Justin Hall kind of in the same position, being a 3rd or 4th round draft pick, considering the fact that he's a right-handed defenseman with a little bit of cost control, only $2 million this year. Then he comes off the books. He could go to someone who's trying to make a playoff push, which there's a lot of teams in the hunt right now, a lot of buyers at this year's deadline. I think you can fetch a 3rd or 4th round draft pick for him. And I know a lot of people are freaking out right now, thinking that the Leafs have sold way too much of their draft capital coming up. I would agree it's been a lot, but you're in a position where you're trying to win this year. You're trying to win in the near future. The draft pieces that you've got right now, they don't hold much value to a team. I mean, you can't blame Kyle Dubas for that. You can't blame the Toronto Maple Leafs for that. Look at all the other competitors in today's market, the teams that are going for Stanley Cups, Colorado, Tampa Bay, Boston Bruins. All those teams are spending first-round draft picks and have been spending first-round draft picks. They're all in. They have no draft capital. The Leafs are just joining that board because they think that they are in a position right now to be able to compete for a Stanley Cup. And you got to think, leading into the future as well. We talked about the future with Jake McCabe and Sam Lafferty still on the team for next year with salary retained. The Toronto Maple Leafs are pretty much locked up for next year already, which is absolutely insane to think about. They are in a position with a lot of cap certainty, with the cap even projected to rise. Think about our defense for 1 second. Jake McCabe, TJ Brodie, Morgan Riley, Rasmus Sandin, Timothy Liljegren, Connor Timmins, Mark Giordano, all under contract for next year. All under contract at really good prices. 1.1 for Connor Timmins, 1.4 for Sandin and Liljegren, $800K for Mark Giordano, and now you've got Jake McCabe on the back end for $2 million. You've still got Brody at I think 5 or 5.5, and yeah, Riley's at 7.5, but you've got an extremely cost-controlled back end with 7 or 8 pieces that are worthy of being in the NHL roster. You've got extreme depth locked in for years to come. This is absolutely insane what Kyle Dubas has managed to do here. And yet I know there are still going to people online in this comment section right here shitting on him. Say what you will. In my opinion, I think you are leaning to the side of being a casual if you just don't understand the severity and the significance of the moves he's been making. It's not been moves that, won't make much of an impact. Last year, if we look back, you got Mark Giordano, who's obviously been a very impactful piece. And then you look at someone like Colin Blackwell, who, he contributed in the playoffs. I think he had 1 goal in that series. He was a decent piece. But these guys that we're picking up right now are the factors, the kind of players that perform in the playoffs, which leads me into the previous trade that I didn't even react to yet. Ryan O'Reilly and Noel Acciari, those are playoff guys. My biggest knock on the Toronto Maple Leafs in the last few years is that, especially in their bottom 6, I just don't see many players as that it player. They don't need to be the best player. They don't need to be a strong regular season performer, but they need to be able to be players that step up and dig in and play hard when it matters most. And that doesn't necessarily mean scoring a goal. Obviously, that's important. We would like goal scoring contribution in the playoffs from our bottom 6. But I'm thinking of names like Justin Williams. You don't think of him as a star, but that guy steps up in big moments. Devontae Smith-Pelly made a career off of performing clutch in the 7th game. And just nobody in our bottom 6 really made me feel like they were in a position to do that. Looking back, I'm thinking of, he's still on the team, but someone like Pierre Engvall is not the kind of guy that's going to give you a clutch goal or a clutch performance or even finish a hit or make a big play to switch the momentum. He's not that kind of player, and neither was Ilya Mikheyev, who people were freaking out that we let go. But you bring in someone like Ryan O'Reilly, a guy that won the cup and was the Conn Smythe winner, almost a point per game in the playoffs. That guy's grit, that guy's got heart. You look at Noel Acciari, that is a guy that, he can pot goals in the playoffs, but more importantly, you want momentum, that guy's going to throw a big hit. You want hustle, you want tenacity, that guy is going to bring exactly that every single shift. Game 7, I have no concern that in Game 7, this team, the way it's constructed right now, is going to give every single bit of grind and determination and effort in a Game 7, whereas in previous years, that's been this team's fatal flaw. They get to that final game, they don't have that killer instinct. They don't have those players that can step up and live in that moment. Now they do. I really believe that now they do. Now, I'm not getting ahead of myself. I'm not saying that the Leafs are winning the Stanley Cup. I'm not guaranteeing that they're getting out of the first round, but Kyle Dubas is putting this team in every single position possible to give that best probability. He's setting this team up for success. Whether it comes or not, that's all you can ask for from your general manager, is to put your team in the best position come the playoffs, and that's exactly what he's done. There's no controlling the fact that, 3 of the top 5 teams in the NHL are in the Atlantic Division. There's no controlling the fact that the Leafs are playing Tampa in the first round. There's no controlling that if they get out of that first round, they're most likely playing the Boston Bruins. It's just the reality. There's nothing you can do about it. So as the general manager, when you've got a team as skilled and strong and with the talent that's on the Toronto Maple Leafs, all you can do is put your team in the best position to be able to succeed. And that's exactly what Kyle Dubas has done. Again, not just for this year, but for next year as well. And there's one more point I do want to make about that O'Reilly deal. I actually think about it in a bit of a different lens, because that 3rd round draft pick that we traded was a payment to take on Matt Murray. Matt Murray being a goalie who was projected to be our starter. I honestly don't know what's to be expected coming the playoff time. I actually think Samsonov will get majority of the starts, but Matt Murray is a capable goalie that has a previous track record of stepping up and playing important playoff games and winning. Won 2 Stanley Cups as the starting goalie. So he's got that track record. You got Matt Murray from Ottawa and that 3rd round draft pick that you then flipped to get Ryan O'Reilly and Noel Acciari. So if I look at that deal from a larger perspective, we got Ryan O'Reilly, Noel Acciari, and Matt Murray for a 1st, a 2nd, a 4th, salary retained on both Matt Murray and Ryan O'Reilly, double salary retained on Ryan O'Reilly, and 2 Met prospects that are probably never going to be Toronto Maple Leafs. Guys, that is insane asset management. You got a starting goalie, someone who is projected to be the starting goalie at salary retention, got paid to take him, flipped that pick in exchange for another guy, salary retained, another guy. Like, what more can you ask for? He's done absolutely everything you can ask for. I don't think he's done. I think there are a couple pieces on this team that are now expendable. We've got way too many guys on forward. We got way too many guys on defense. We still have the possibility that Matthew Knies can step into the bottom 6 in the playoffs. I'm not banking on that. I think everybody's overhyping him a little bit. I think he's a very skilled player, but to be able to step in and make a significant impact in the NHL right away out of college, it's a little far-fetched. I think we'll see him before the end of the year. I don't know if he'll be in the playoff roster, but there is the possibility that you can add him to the bottom 6. So that makes, again, Alex Kerfoot, who's been playing on the 4th line at $3.5 million. That makes him expendable. And if you move him, that's $3.5 million on the book. Well, then you've got Pierre Engvall. I think he's at something like $2.25 million. He's a pending restricted free agent or unrestricted free agent. He's got no real spot on the bottom 6 anymore now that we've got Achari and Lafferty. I mean, he's expendable now. And again, Justin Hull is now our 7th or 8th defenseman, which is something that would be amazing to have in the playoffs. It's great to have depth, and he does provide a lot that a lot of people don't appreciate on the penalty kill. But now you've got other guys that can step into that penalty kill role and do a good enough job. Those 3 guys could be moved for other pieces, could be moved for draft capital. And Kyle Dubas, we already know he loves to take his picks and trade down, and he gets really good value out of those deals, because think of our top prospects right now. Matthew Knies is a 2nd rounder. Our big pickup last year that a lot of people I think are actually sleeping on as a prospect, Fraser Minton, is a 2nd rounder. We're really good at finding those gems in the 2nd or 3rd round or even later. So I have no concerns about Kyle Dubas taking the picks that we have, the few picks that we have, moving to get 2 later on and actually hitting on those as well. So anyway, long-winded rant, all to say, Kyle Dubas, I absolutely love you. I think this is a fantastic job. I can't wait to see what else happens before Friday. If we're done here, hey, A+. The Leafs have done a fantastic job. Kyle Dubas has done a fantastic job. I don't care. If we get out in the 1st round, I'm still giving Kyle Dubas an extension. He's done everything in his power to help this team out. If the team fails, that's on the players. I trust Kyle Dubas to then make the moves to, hey, say this player is not working out and make adjustments from there. But I say give Kyle Dubas an extension. He's just been A+ masterclass here. So what are your thoughts? That was really quick, long-winded. I apologize for that, but thank you so much for clicking on this video. And I'll see you again after the trade deadline when we see what this team is really going to look like as we head towards the playoffs.